Hey guys, so here is part 2 of my wedding and prom hair tutorials. So we did an updo style, so now I'm actually going to do a half up, half down style. So what I'm going to do is, your hair is still curled. It's mostly left over from the night before, but I'm actually not really going to touch it up. But what I'm going to do is, I'm going to take a rat tail comb with just like really fine teeth. And my favorite combs are actually combs that are matte and not shiny. And I know that sounds weird, but matte combs actually don't cause as much static as a shiny comb would. So I love to use something that's a little more matte and has a little bit more grip to it. But if you do have a shiny comb, you can just take it and spray with some hairspray, and it'll give it just a little bit more texture and grit to it. So what I'm going to do is, I'm going to start on the side of her hair. And I'm just going to lift up this section, and I'm just going to tease. Okay, once you have that section done, it should look something like this. You can do 2 lines, you can do 3. I'm just doing 2 just because it's a mannequin head, so it's a little bit smaller. And I'm going to do the same thing on this side. And this side does have more hair, so I'm probably going to do 3 lines of tease on this side. Okay, so it should look something kind of crazy. Mannequin hair teases pretty well, so your hair probably won't look as crazy as this one. But I'm just going to gently take the comb, and I'm not actually going to put it into the hair. I'm just going to let it glide over the top. So instead of going in between, I'm literally just gliding over the top. So that's going to calm down just that really small first layer. And you can see already how much smoother that looks on this side. And literally all I did was just barely run it over it. Okay, so after I get the sides smoothed out perfectly how I want them, I'm just going to put just a touch of hairspray on the top just to keep everything in place. So now I'm going to go to the back here. We haven't teased the back at all, but really volume on the top and sides is going to be just as important in the back, or you're going to end up with your hair kind of something like that. And that's really, you want there to be volume that flows all the way down and not just in the back. So what I'm going to do next is, I'm going to pick up this top section, and I'm going to pick up just a little bit of hair from either side of the tease. So here I have a pretty wide section. I picked up just a little bit from the sides, and I'm going to do the same thing. I'm just going to tease it. I don't always add spray underneath, but if you have hair that doesn't tease very well, it really helps. Gives some texture and some grip. And it'll also help those bobby pins hold too, so don't be afraid of the hairspray. I'm going to do 3 sections down the back. So it should look kind of something like that, kind of crazy. I'm going to do the same thing. And when you're doing this part, if you want to spray a little bit on your comb, it does wonders. It really grabs all those hairs and just pulls them down and really smooths them. Okay, so this is kind of what it should look like. Her hair is, I mean, it's pretty big right now, but you got to keep in mind that you're going to be touching it a lot when you're styling, so it's going to fall out some, and you really just, you want too much more than really not enough. So once I get everything really combed out to how I like it, I'm turning around to the back here. I'm going to take her hair, and as you can see, this is her part right here. And I'm going to gather this back section and go ahead and pin it up and get everything kind of pulled out into place. So I'm just going to do one side at a time. So this is going to be the base for your whole style. So don't be afraid to put a lot of bobby pins, because you want to make sure this is super, super secure, because everything else is going to be pinned to this section. So once you get it pinned, it should kind of look like this. Should have some hair down on the sides still. And I kind of like to pull just a little bit out, just like that top layer, just to give it just a little bit of texture. I don't like mine to be super smooth, but it's really a preference thing. Okay, so that's kind of what it should look like. So you have the back up and not the sides yet. So again, I always like to start on the side that has the least amount of hair. So it should kind of look like this. So you still have this hair kind of hanging there, and you're just going to play with this top piece for now. So what you're going to do is you are going to just put a braid in it like normal. And then you're going to add some pieces into your braid. So you always want to add the piece that you're adding in always needs to go to the piece that's on the very top. So right now, I don't know if you can see it very well, but this is the piece that's on top. So I'm just going to rotate it into the piece. And then I'm going to lay the other piece over, and then I'm only going to take pieces and add them to this side. So I'm going to wait until I have this piece around again, and then I'm going to pick up another piece and just keep adding it from this side. And what that does is it's going to keep you from having a gap in between your volume and your braid. So every time you make a braid and you have a piece that comes over from this side over, that's when you're going to add another piece. And you can add like really small pieces. I mean, as long as there's something coming from the side, you are perfect. So once you run out of hair, you don't want to take too much. I'm already starting to get just a little bit of a gap, so I'm not going to take any more hair, and I'm just going to keep braiding down the piece until I get to the end. And then I'm going to hold the end really tight. I'm going to spray it. And then you really want to loosen these pieces, and that's super important that you loosen them, because it gives the effect that you have thicker hair than you do. So I'm really just loosening this through here. And you want this to be wide because this piece is what's going to go over your bobby pins. So if you really, really want to hide these bobby pins, then you really have to go in and loosen this out. Okay, so this is kind of what it should look like. It's really wide. And I'm just going to take it back here and I'm going to put it over the bobby pins. And then I'm going to take the end and I'm going to roll it behind the pins. And that bobby pin is going to go right behind there. It's going to be added in right there. So right now you can still see a little bit of pin just right through here, but we have to get the other side put back still. So I'm going to spray this into place. if you want to add any more pins to that braid, you just take a bobby pin and you can go up through it and almost weave it through the braid and grab that back part of it and just push it up into the bump. And the bump really hides things, so you can just slide it up right through there. So now I'm going to do the same thing on this side. I'm going to tilt her head down so you can see. So I'm going to leave her front piece out. Now I'm not going to start the braid too high, because if you do, what'll end up happening is that it'll end up on top of the head and this piece will just be down here by itself, and then you're going to see all of this gap right here. So what you want to do is you want to start it kind of low, maybe right at the eyebrow, symmetrical with the eyebrow, about right here. And I'm just going to part off this top piece. And you're going to have some tease in there, so don't worry about actually parting it. Just grab some hair and separate it, because you want that tease to stay up here, so that way you have all of this still have volume and the braid's not flat to the head. So I'm just going to grab 3 pieces, just like I was, and I'm just going to start braiding. And when I have a piece that comes this way, just like the other side, I'm going to reach under here and just grab some hair and add to it. And if you only have small pieces to add, that's totally fine. All you're really doing is anchoring it to the head. Okay, so you want to braid it all the way down. I'm not grabbing pieces anymore, I'm just braiding just straight down. I'm going to give it a good spray. And I'm just loosening the pieces again. And it's really important to hold really tight at the bottom of the braid. I'm holding each piece in a different finger, so that way the piece, you can actually kind of see it moving up as you loosen it. So that way you have enough tension, but you're not going to lose the whole braid. When you're pulling it out, you really want to make sure all your pieces kind of stay together and that you don't have any weird loops. I have a couple that I'm going to have to go and fix. But you really want to kind of pull it and leave it kind of tapered looking. Okay, so after you get all that pulled out to your liking, then you're going to come right around here to the back and you're going to pin it just like you did the other one. So I'm going to wrap it over the bobby pins, and then I'm going to pin it behind, so that way I don't have the end of it sticking out in a really weird spot, because it's not going to look like a layer. It's such a short piece that it's just going to look like a piece of hair that's just kind of hanging out there. So when you come back to the front, you just want to adjust this front piece so that way it has more of a swoop, and so it's not pulled straight back, because you don't want to see it pulled straight back. You really want it to be super relaxed. So I'm going to be leaving mine just like this because I kind of like it. And then I'm going to take this front piece, I'm going to curl it just a little bit tighter to go with this style, just because it is right there by the face. So this is the finished product.